Allie here from bakingaloma.com. Welcome to my channel. I can't believe how close it's getting to Thanksgiving. Time is just flying by me. These last few years, for me, Thanksgiving actually comes early because I love to host a big Friendsgiving potluck dinner with all the classic Thanksgiving foods. So that usually happens about 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, and that puts me in full Thanksgiving mode right now. Today I'm going to show you how to make my classic Thanksgiving stuffing recipe. I guess technically you would call this a dressing and not a stuffing, since it doesn't actually get stuffed inside the bird. You can stuff it inside the bird, but it's a lot safer if you cook it in a baking dish. So this recipe is very basic, it's very classic, but it's also very adaptable. You can make it in a lot of different ways and kind of put your own personal spin on it. But I'm just going to show you the classic way of doing it, and I think you're going to love it because it's just everything that you would expect from Thanksgiving stuffing. It's got a great balance of seasonings, very herby, buttery, full of savory flavor. It's the perfect accompaniment to a roast turkey. So let's start by going through the ingredients and tools that you're going to need in order to make this. The first ingredient is bread. My favorite type of bread for stuffing is just a plain white sandwich bread. If you want to get a little fancy, try using like a crusty sourdough loaf, or cornbread would work really well here. Really, any kind of bread that you like the flavor of, whatever it tastes like by itself, that flavor is definitely going to come through in the final result. A little bit of oil or butter to saute your veggies in. Roughly chopped onion. I prefer a sweet onion, but again, any kind of onion you like will work. Roughly chopped celery, chicken stock, or if you can get it, turkey stock. If you have a lot of drippings left over from roasting your turkey, this is a great way to use them. Melted butter. Fresh sage. Sage is the ingredient that kind of defines Thanksgiving. When you smell it, you'll recognize it immediately. It just has Thanksgiving written all over it. Poultry seasoning, which is a blend of herbs and spices. It is very sagey, but it also has other herbs in it like thyme, and it's got a lot of black pepper in it. Kosher salt and freshly ground black pepper. You're also going to need a good sized skillet for sauteing your veggies, a really big bowl to mix this up in. This recipe makes a lot of stuffing. It really feeds a crowd. Something to stir it all up with. If I'm being honest, a lot of times I just use my clean hand, but you could also use a big wooden spoon or a silicone spatula and a large casserole dish. The one you see me using here has a 3.5 quart capacity. All right, now before we get into the how-to, I would love it if you could just take a quick second to click the like button. It doesn't seem like much, but you wouldn't believe how much it helps me out. It's also great for you because if you like watching these kinds of videos, then it'll let the algorithm know that you're into that, and it'll continue to show you more videos and more content like this. So thanks in advance for doing that. It really means the world to me. So the first step is just to cube up the bread into bite-sized pieces. I would say like about 1-inch cubes. You're gonna spread it out onto baking trays and let it toast in the oven. It seems a little counterintuitive, but the drier your bread is, the more flavors it will absorb. So I toast it in the oven just to like kind of crisp it up a little bit. I don't really let it get brown. Another option is to just leave it sitting out overnight uncovered. Once your bread feels dry and crisp, you're ready to move on to the next step. Now just drizzle a little bit of oil or toss a pat of butter into your skillet. Get your skillet heated up on medium heat and throw in your onions and celery. Season them up with a little bit of salt. Just gonna sweat these veggies down a little bit. They don't have to be fully cooked, but you do want to kind of take a little bit of the bite out of them and get them a little tender. It's really cool to see how as the onions cook, they become sort of translucent looking and the celery just gets this brilliant, beautiful color. And once they get to that stage, you're good to go. You can throw them into that big bowl along with the dry bread. You can also add your stock to the bowl, your melted butter, your finely chopped fresh sage, poultry seasoning, the rest of the salt, and the pepper. Now, if you want to make this stuffing recipe extra special, there are some add-ins that can really take it to the next level. When I'm making it for my friends, I like to also add in some cooked crumbled sausage. Around this time of year, you can usually find a sage-flavored sausage that's perfect. And to contrast with all that savory, peppery flavor, I also like to add in a couple of chopped apples. The tart ones are especially good. Granny Smiths are by far my favorite. That little pop of sweetness just adds to the complexity of this dish, and it's also very seasonal. Somehow it all just works. Another great add-in is roasted chestnuts. You can either buy them in the produce section at your grocery store and roast and peel them yourself, or you can purchase them already roasted and peeled in jars. They add a really unique flavor. And I've never actually eaten it this way, but I know it's pretty popular to make oyster stuffing. So go ahead and throw in your uncooked oysters as well, along with their liquid. Toss everything together. The main goal is just to make sure that every bite of bread is coated in all those wonderful savory flavors. Once you feel like it's really well mixed, you can put it into your casserole dish. And bake it in the oven. You just want to make sure that it's heated all the way through to the center. The top of it should start to look a little bit toasty. The edges might get like a little chewy and crusty. You know, there's always people who want the chewy, crusty edges, and then there's people who want the soft middle. So this way everybody's happy. And serve it warm from the oven. My favorite way to eat it is with a bite of turkey, a little bit of gravy, and a little bit of cranberry sauce. I'm gonna link to some of my other favorite Thanksgiving side dish recipes in the description below. So look for my easy no-fail gravy recipe, my homemade cranberry sauce, which is so much easier than you would think, and my classic pumpkin pie recipe, which always wows all my guests. I just know that your friends and family are really going to enjoy this Thanksgiving stuffing. I developed the recipe just based on what I remember always enjoying throughout my childhood, and this really just nails it. Be sure to click the subscribe button so you can be notified every time I come out with something new. Enjoy!